The rich family versus the poor family. In a noisy Lagos area called Iyana Oworo, two families live side by side. One was rich, the other poor. The Adegbite family was rich, proud, shiny, and loud. The Okoro family was poor, simple, messy, and full of wahala. The Adegbite's house was a big two-story building with white paint that sparkled like glass. They had a big black gate, a generator that sounded like an airplane, and a gateman who always wore dark glasses like a movie star. Inside, they had expensive furniture, shiny tiles, and air conditioners in every room. Their children spoke with fake British accents and used big English that made everyone roll their eyes. The Okoros, however, lived right next door, in a small, one-room house with a rusty zinc roof that leaked whenever it rained. Their door was old, and the walls had brown patches from years of water. Mr. Okoro sold second-hand shoes at Yoba Market, while his wife, Mama Chidinma, sold puff-puff by the roadside. Their children attended the public school nearby and were always cheerful, even when they had nothing to eat. Still, the Okoros were known for one thing: laughter. Their house was always full of noise, music, and joy. They didn't have much, but they had each other. Every morning, the smell of Mama Chidinma's puff-puff filled the air. It was sweet, so sweet that even people from the next street could smell it. But one woman didn't like it. That woman was Mrs. Adegbite. One hot morning, as the smell of fried dough drifted into her fancy kitchen, she shouted from her balcony, "Madam, the smell of your oil is entering my kitchen. You want to turn our house into a roadside canteen." Mama Chidinma stopped frying, placed one hand on her waist, and looked up. "Madam rich woman, I beg face your business. If puff-puff smell too sweet for you, come on by." The street exploded with laughter. From that day, the two women became sworn enemies. The next morning, the Adegbite son, David, was playing loud foreign music. He loved Ed Sheeran and Drake. The song was blasting through the compound. But the Okoro's first son, Chike, didn't like that kind of music. He preferred street jams, Portable, Small Doctor, and Zlatan. So, to show his annoyance, he turned on his small speaker and blasted Zazuze. The street began to vibrate from both sides. British pop versus Lagos street music. The two families shouted through the fence, "Tell your son to lower that nonsense. I beg, tell your own to stop making my ears bleed." Before long, people gathered outside laughing and recording the scene with their phones. Lagos people love drama, and this was free cinema. The next week, the Adegbites blocked the gutter near their house, just to protect their compound. But the dirty water started flowing toward the Okoro's home. When Mama Chidinma saw it, she screamed, "You want to flood my kitchen, ABI?" Mrs. Adegbite replied proudly, "Maybe the water will wash your house clean." That was the wrong thing to say. Mama Chidinma hissed, ran inside, grabbed a bucket of soapy water, and poured it through the fence, straight onto Mrs. Adegbite's expensive Ankara dress. "Jesus! My designer gown," she screamed. In anger, Mrs. Adegbite threw a bowl of detergent water back. Soon, both women were splashing each other, shouting and calling names. Children were screaming, "Fight! Fight!" Men ran out to separate them, but it was too late. The whole street was laughing like mad. By the next morning, the gist had gone viral. In Yoba Market, people were whispering, "You hear say that rich woman fights puff-puff seller because of smell?" Even at church, Mrs. Adegbite couldn't walk without people staring. She heard someone mutter, "No, she be that puff-puff madam." Her pride was wounded. She told her husband, "I can't live beside that kind of people again. This shame is too much." So, Mr. Adegbite built a tall fence, taller than two men, to separate them completely. "No more nonsense," he said. "Now we will have peace." But Lagos had other plans. One Saturday night, the clouds turned black. Thunder roared, lightning flashed, and a heavy rain began to fall. The street flooded quickly. Inside the Adegbites' fancy house, water began to enter through the back door. Their big generator was still on. Sparks started flying. Mrs. Adegbite screamed. "The water is entering. My shoes. My bags. My prodo." The children began crying. Their high fence trapped all the water inside, it couldn't escape anywhere. The car started floating, the furniture was soaked, and the electricity sparked dangerously. They tried to open the gate, but the lock had jammed. Panic filled the air. On the other side of the fence, the Okoros were also struggling with water, but their home was small, and they could manage. Suddenly, they heard screams. "Help us! Somebody help!" Mr. Okoro grabbed the torch and rushed out. When he saw the situation, he called his sons. Together, they used planks and buckets to climb over and break open the Adegbites' gate. Water poured out like a small river, rushing down the street. Everyone was wet, tired, and scared, but alive. The Adegbites were shaking, speechless. Their expensive house looked like a swimming pool, while the Okoros stood there, soaked but smiling. The next morning, the street was quiet for the first time in months. The sky was clear, the air was cool, and the smell of rain was everywhere. Mrs. Adegbite came out wearing a wrapper and slippers. Her hair was rough, her eyes red. She walked slowly toward Mama Chidima, who was frying puff-puff near a small fire. Everyone watched silently. Mrs. Adegbite said softly, "Thank you. I'm sorry for everything. For the words, the noise, the pride. If not for you, my family." Her voice broke. Mama Chidima smiled, her eyes gentle. "No problem, my sister. Water no get enemy. God just used that rain to wash our hearts." The two women laughed, and everyone around clapped. From that day, peace returned to the street. The Adegbites started buying puff-puff every morning. Their children played football with the Okoro's children. David and Chike even recorded a funny song together, a mix of Zozuze and Shape of You. It went viral in the neighborhood. Sometimes when people asked about the fight, both families would laugh and say, "That time, pride no let us think well." The moral lesson: money can build a fence, but kindness can break it down. No matter how rich or poor you are, pride will only make you blind. Love and humility will always win in the end.